I'm Christine Sampson-Clark. I'm a ninth grade special education teacher here in Trenton. Teach math. And I have the honor, the pleasure, and excitement to be part of the Trent House Association Board. And so just to give a little bit of my history of how the math teacher ended up here, is that I was invited here as the board started to really think about how to expand the mission so that a person like myself, a Trentonian, all my life here, had never come to the Trent House. And why not, right? Because I didn't see myself in this history, right? Why would I come to a space that represents enslavement of my ancestors? What would be the purpose for me to be here? And as the Trent House Association started to really think about how to be inclusive, how to be representative of what makes Trenton everything that it is, that's wonderful, that makes me love and stay here, right? And raise my children and my grandchildren here. The Trent House wanted to be more inclusive of all the people that it represents. So you'll notice we have a land acknowledgement for the Lenape, because as you can see here, they are the true occupants of this land, owners of this land. And so we pay homage to the Lenape. Every time we do a workshop, we do a land acknowledgement. And then we have to acknowledge the enslaved members of the house that helped toil the land and take care of the family that lived here, and to help Trenton grow into what we know it as today. So, and then we talk about all of the immigrants that came through, the immigrant workers that come through the house. And as this community grows, and Damien and I talk a lot about the hi, you made it. Thank you. All right, I'll never remember to introduce you, I believe, right? As it grows, and so we try to make sure, and we've done a lot of work with Great Migration, and Jocelyn and Pat Atkins have done work on the Great Migration from the South, mostly Black folks that moved from the South to land here. And then we've done work, we just did a workshop with Puerto Rican migration into Trenton and why I stayed here. And then we just did one with Ukrainian, and I learned about the waves of Ukrainian migration. You don't think about that in this area, but in New Jersey alone, the various different groups that have come through here to help make Trenton this wonderful, diverse, interesting, get all kinds of cool foods. I'm an eater, I like to eat, so I'm mostly about the food, right? And so that made me want to be a part of the Trent House Association, because it did show me that there is a space for me here. And as I look around this room and I see all of you here today and see the diversity of this crowd, hopefully you feel like you're in the space that you belong here as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying our excitement for being here. I probably talk too much, so I'm going to stop, and I'm going to let Sam do all of the critical introductions. So thank you.
Sarah, would you like to come up? This is Sarah Curitan, the director of the New Jersey Historical Commission.
That's a hard act to follow. So I'm Sarah Curitan, I'm executive director of the New Jersey Historical Commission. And I just want to say that we are so honored to be the administrators for the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail. It's just a huge honor. The legislation was signed by Governor Murphy a couple of years ago, and our team has been busily working ever since then to get to days like today, when we really get to unveil all this hard work that goes into it. So I am going to introduce the team in just 1 minute, but let me tell you a little bit about the trail itself. Now, a few years ago, and Sam remembers this because he was part of it with the Sankofa Trail, we started thinking, Sankofa also was thinking about this Black Heritage Trail. And they undertook, I think we provided some funding, if I'm remembering correctly,
Yes, you did.
to do an initial research project to start identifying potential sites for this trail. And it was overwhelming, right?
Yes.
Hundreds of sites.
Yes.
Hundreds of sites were identified as potential candidates for the trail. So that got us very excited. I mean, we knew that there were sites out there, but to really now start developing a list and identifying where they were was so exciting. So since then, we've built a team. First and foremost is the director of our African American History program, Noelle Lorraine Williams, who maybe a lot of you know. I don't know if any of you remember Giles Wright. Anybody remember Giles Wright, our previous, Gigi remembers, our wonderful director, original director of the African American History program. And we had waited years to be able to restart that program, and we finally were able to bring Noelle back on board a few years ago, and she's done a fabulous job. So, her team for the Black Heritage Trail includes Dr. Sinatra Smith. And where's Greg? Greg, there he is. And they've worked so hard. And I also want to thank the Trent House Association for nominating the site, because we know that and other people have been nominating sites too, and we're so grateful.
Half of our sites came from Dolly Marshall.
I tried.
We are so grateful for that, because we know that it takes time and it takes care and thoughtfulness and real dedication to do that, because we're not just going to put up a marker if we don't have the documentation behind it. And so there's work that goes into it, and we're grateful to all of those who do those nominations, so thank you. Let me just share also, we have some other members of the team. We have they're all here in force. Nicole Primiani is here. We have 2 Noelles on our staff, can you believe it? Noelle Dempsey is the other Noelle. Rachel Timke behind her. And we have a second doctor on staff, Dr. Mark. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Okay, good. So, very proud of them, and we are here really for you and state history. That's what we're all about. So let's talk just a little bit about the trail. We've been getting nominations from all over the site, so unveilings have been happening in every part of New Jersey, many more to come. And we do want you to know that there are tags on these markers. So get familiar with those tags. Some of them have QR codes that are going to take you to some virtual museums and installations. So pay attention to those tags, make use of those, and then spread the word. Noelle and her team have done a fabulous job of also creating online resources. So you all have a postcard for the trail, and go there, because we don't have markers for all the places that have been placed on the trail. But online, you're going to be able to access information about all of the ones that have been nominated and approved for the trail so far. So it's super exciting. So let me end by just tipping my hat to the Trent House Association. What a fabulous introduction you gave, because you said exactly what I was going to say.
I knew that.
about this wonderful association. And that is the deep commitment to community history, which is something that we at the Commission value and prioritize and really want to foster. So what a great example you all are of really building community and then inviting that community to identify, share, and preserve their stories, their history. And then if you have sites to nominate for the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail, Dr. Sinatra Smith can tell you when the deadlines are. So thank you, Sam.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is
exciting.
I don't want to be too formal, since everyone preceding me has been very light and casual. So I'm actually just coming from my work day, and just up until the 11th hour, I was working on applications and also working on permissions to install documentation for the ones that are in transit. So I'm going to give you a challenge that you're going to all have to catch up to me. I have 11 so far for Camden County. So that includes the city of Camden and Lawnside, New Jersey as well. So I'm very excited and proud of that. Reason being because this history has been dormant for too long. It's been marginalized, it's been unrecognized. So it's very important to me. I should introduce myself. I'm the city historian for the city of Camden, And I'm also a trustee of a historic African American cemetery in Lawnside that will be getting a marker called Mount Peace. And I think one of the trustees here, Jocelyn, has some ancestors buried there too. So there's a lot of throughways and connections, and it's very important to me. I'm very interested in the trail, of course, not just personally for the markers, the subjects that I've been researching, but statewide. A little about me, you might not know, I previously worked as a docent for the New Jersey State House. So I give tours to people from all across the country that come to the Trenton State House to learn about New Jersey history. And our history is very rich, and it's very vast and very diverse. So I wanted to just give a little insight today about the Black community, pre-colonial Black community that existed here in these spaces during the time of the Trent House in 1719. We do want to give homage to the Lenape Nation before European colonization that occupied these areas for thousands of years. But I wanted to say the Black community in this area that was known as Trentstown and later Trenton consisted primarily of enslaved individuals who were property of wealthy white landowners. And as the free Black community grew, particularly in West Jersey, and with the assistance of Quaker abolitionist efforts, they started to formally organize communities with social institutions, including churches, schools, and cemeteries. And a lot of these sites are the sites that I'm marking, because those are the integral places, sites of history that I want to make sure are recognized on the trail throughout the state. So those began to develop during the 18th and 19th centuries. And in 1811, the Religious Society of Free Africans of the city of Trenton was founded. So after the establishment of the AME Church and a visit from Reverend Richard Allen, that became Mount Zion African Church. So a lot of you Trentonians are aware of that rich history, and that through 1817 to the present is still located on Perry Street. And so I want to make sure we remember all of the laborers and all of the labor that contributed into the building, the maintenance, just the day-to-day operations of the Trent House. And I really focus on people and their lived experiences, and I feel everyone is extraordinary and should be remembered. I really focus on commemorating individual stories that might not be as well known. So I think it's important when you're selecting topics or subjects for a site to really go for that people history, not like who's famous or Washington slept here. You hear that a lot in Trent. Washington, George Washington did this, George Washington did that. But it's the people who are the people that supported Washington? Who are the people that cooked for George Washington? So I wanted to leave you with this. This is actually a subject that I'm working on, and I thought it would be very apropos to read it today because he is someone who was formerly employed by the Trent House. So when I'm completed this research, I hopefully would love to turn it over to the Trent House and see some interpretation for it. So Richard Long, a favorite colored servant at the Trenton House, committed suicide on Tuesday night. This newspaper article is dated August 1st, 1863. It is supposed his mind was affected by the recent attack of a mob upon his house and the subsequent death of his child. His death will be much regretted by all the old habitués of the house, meaning all the people that frequently visited the Trenton House knew and came in contact with Mr. Richard Long. And just to give you a little bit more insight, he worked here, but Mr. Long was also a property owner. He had a family, he had a wife and children. But through my research, his home was attacked as a result of the National Conscription Act with the New York Draft Massacre. So a lot of people aren't aware. They think that was all happening in New York, but a lot of that violence trickled down into our state as well. So stay tuned on that information because his house was set ablaze and one of his children were killed. And he worked for the Trent House. So I want to leave you with that. So this history, like I said, it's important that we remember everything about the history. So I want to thank you for your time.
We're very honored to have our mayor.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Events like today show that the Trent House is much more than a rich old landowner that owned property in Trenton. And if you take a tour of the house, whether it's in the basement or the upstairs, you'll see the presence of other people that of important and that lives are worth exploring and studying. And Trenton certainly has a rich history and should have more spaces on the African American History Trail. It was the first introduction of colored troops during the Revolutionary War. We have the Locust Hill Cemetery, where 10 Civil War black soldiers are buried. Martin Luther King was here and appeared at Shiloh Baptist Church in 1958. And S. Howard Woodson, the pastor, was the first black speaker of the General Assembly. And during the '68 riots, we had a freedom march that was down West State Street that included Catherine Stoney Graham, who should always be remembered as an advocate of the civil rights movement. So we are proud of our history. We love when we're celebrating it, and especially to be marked on the History Trail is certainly an extraordinary event and should be studied by school children especially. And we want to attract many people to come to the Trent House and study its rich history and see all the people that live on this property. So, thank you very much and congratulations.
First grant we got to look into the history of the enslaved people here was from the Council for the Humanities, which is where Chi-Chi is at. And she introduced us to a wonderful scholar who I know many of you know, Dr. Linda Caldwell Epps, who has been a fantastic partner with us as the Trent House, but also a leader in the Sankofa Collaborative. So that was a wonderful thing. But Chi-Chi, please.
So Sarah talked about how it's such an honor to be part of this work as funders. And I really, I can't say it any better. It really is. We get all these thanks as funders, and it's totally and completely inappropriate because we could not be happier to be doing it. It's so important to do it. I'm thinking now about the statues that we're going to get to have someday, right, for Lorraine Williams, and for Jocelyn Francis White, and for Linda Caldwell Epps. My goodness, history doesn't exist with New Jersey without Linda Caldwell Epps, I don't think. I'm so sad she can't be here with us today. But as you're all talking, and as I was thinking about my first visit here, the work that the Trent House has done all of these years, and so many other institutions have done all over many, many years to tell a more whole history. The other part of it that really is striking me today is that we want to tell a living history, right? That's why we concentrate on the stories of the individuals. Dolly, you're absolutely right about that. Those voices, where can we capture those histories? But also that we'll never know everything, and it will always be changing. And spaces like this give us the opportunity to say, let's see the next thing that this could be. Our houses are never dormant, ever. They never have one story. They have a million stories. And how great is it that we get to commemorate some of these stories throughout time? And it's amazing for me to be a part of it. So thank you for having me here, and I'm thrilled to be here.
The marker is a marker, quote, for and at the Trent House, but it is because of these people and their stories and what we know about their stories that we are all here today. So when Trent died unexpectedly in 1724, he had only been here a while, but he had established a lot of businesses, mills and so on Assapean Creek, which is just north of us. It was a big plantation. He had a plantation of 1,000 acres. Orchards and fields and these mills and of course his house. When he died, there was an inventory collected of all of his things. And that inventory is at the New Jersey State Archives. A copy of it is on the top over there next to that side door. But we also have, and I should have put them out for you all, a transcript that you can actually read as opposed to the stuff that you can't read. And in it, after you go through the living room and the kitchen and the bedrooms and the mills and so on, you come to this list. And this is the list of 11 people. What we know and what we don't know is really evident on this list. It's a list of men and women, boys and girls, and a child. It's a list of people who have a name according to Trent. We don't know what their birth name would have been, but this is how we know them from the inventory. The first group of 6 is the only mixed age, mixed gender group. It's the group that we interpret as living and working in the historic house itself. What you notice there is we don't know how they're related to each other. So one very important thing that we all have as our own personal identity is we're a husband or a wife or a brother or a sister or a child. We don't know that about those people or how they might be related to the others. So it's important for us to acknowledge what we do know, and Gigi and Dolly and Sarah are pointing out what we don't know and how important it is to keep looking, and to to be curious about who they were and what their life was like. We do interpret them, the first 6, particularly Yoff, Joan, and Nanny, in the house with mannequins and so on, and posters and things. But to try to give life to them, we want to do more and love to know more. We do know a little bit more about Yoff because he ran away after he was sold after Trent's death. And so we know that he was born in this country into slavery. We would know he had been enslaved by 2 people before Trent. We know that he was, as described in the ad, runaway ad, sensible and cunning, clever, smart, and he could read and write. And it was stated in that ad that he probably had forged his own pass. So you think about the courage of that person, his skills, his ingenuity. I wish we knew more, but it gives us something to go on. Okay, anything else? No? We're ready? Okay.
All right.